Hello and welcome back to another Django tutorial. My name's Tom with Master Code Online. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to go ahead and finish configuring our Django project for Heroku. There's a couple more requirements that we must handle before we upload our project to Heroku. So basically today we're going to go ahead and set up those requirements. Tomorrow or the next tutorial, we'll go ahead and set up our we'll bring Bootstrap into play and we'll create a home page so we have something to look at once we upload our project to Heroku. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and finish these modifications. The first one we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to add a middleware to our settings.py file. Now, White Noise threw me a little curveball. They updated their version to, I don't know what it is now, 4.1, 4, something like that. And what they did was, in the previous steps when we use White Noise, we would load it into the WSGI file, which is right here, your web server gateway interface, and we would hook it into here. Now, technically, in my thoughts, you shouldn't be messing with your WSGI file, because once you start messing with that, things tend to break. This is what runs your site, all right? So what they did is they went and changed this, which I agree with, they should have done, and they're going to add it as a middleware now, all right? And basically what this middleware is going to do is say, hey, serve our static files using White Noise. That's basically all it's doing. So we're going to go ahead and bring in White Noise into our middleware here, and we're going to say middleware and White Noise middleware, right? Yeah, I think that's it. Anyhow, so basically that's all that's doing is saying, hey, when the server runs, use White Noise to serve our static files. And before I mentioned before, White Noise, before that was developed, we had to do a lot more to serve up our static files, but now that White Noise is available to us, serving static files is a lot easier. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is create a proc file. And what the proc file does is it configures the dynos for Heroku. Now you may be wondering, what in the world is a dyno? Well, a dyno is a Linux container, basically. And basically what it does is it contains our project, depending on how many dynos we have. Depending on the size and the load on your application when your site's uploaded to Heroku, that's where the dynos come into play. I highly suggest, if you want to know more about dynos, is go read Heroku's documentation. It's very good and it's very extensive on dynos. All right. I know a lot of people ask me about dynos. We could do a whole tutorial series on that, but it'd probably get a little boring. So let's go ahead and configure a proc file. Inside your base dir, we're going to go ahead and add a proc file. Now, your proc file isn't named as you would normally see a file. First off, we started off with a P, then we PRC-FILE, and we do not provide a type of file extension. So there's no TXT or .py or .php or .swift for Swift. There's none of that, all right? It's just proc file, all right? And like I said, this is what Heroku is going to use to configure its dynos. So basically what we're going to say to it is, hey, for the web, all right, use a Unicorn server, so Unicorn, and this is a server that's developed in Python that allows us to serve up Python data, all right? If you want to read more about that, go over to unicorn.com, I believe it is. Unicorn.org, and read up on what Unicorn is. All right. Next thing we're going to say is, hey, we need to find where our WSGI file is, our web server gateway interface. So we got to provide a path. So we're going to say cms.wsgi. So into the CMS directory and WSGI, and there's our documentation to run our application. All right. And lastly, we're going to go ahead and say --log-file space hyphen. This says, hey, we don't need a log file. If you guys want a log file, go ahead and take out that space and put an equal sign there, and it'll allow you to return a log file. I don't want a log file. So we're going to go ahead and take that out. All right, so that's your proc file. Next one we're going to do is requirements.txt file. This one's very important. Anytime we run pip install on our project, you must update your requirements.txt file, or it's not going to work correctly on Heroku. So basically what happens, and I'm going to explain this to you so you guys understand this for the future, we did install a couple packages. We installed white noise and DJ database, right? So we installed, let's look. In here, if you go into your lib directory and then your Python 3.7 directory and then your site packages, you're going to see we got Django, we got Pytz, which is Python time zone, we got white noise, and we got DJ database underscore url.py. All right, cool. So we installed a couple packages already. When we ship our project to Heroku, basically the only thing we're shipping is our base dir, this one right here. That's going to go off to Heroku, right? Anything else in this project is going to stay behind. It's going to stay on our computer. So if you notice, white noise and DJ database and Python time zone and Django are all going to stay behind. So how does Heroku know what packages we want to run on their server? Well, that comes down to the requirements.txt file. And what the requirements.txt file is going to do is when we run pip freeze caret then requirements.txt, man, this is coming a long day. When we run the requirements.txt file, or the pip freeze for that file, it's going to go into our lib directory here, into our Python 3.7, into our site packages, and it's going to grab the data from all these packages we got installed. We got white noise installed. It's going to return white noise and its version. It's got Pytz installed. It's going to return that and its version. It's got Django. It's going to return Django and its version. So when we go ahead and upload our project to Heroku, it's going to go ahead and install all these packages again on its server. And the reason they did that was because, could you imagine if we had like hundreds of packages in here and we tried to upload it to Heroku? That would take forever. So what Heroku does is it goes and analyzes them and pulls them in as it needs it on that upload. So that's what goes on. Now you may be wondering, how do I create a requirements.txt file? We're going to go ahead and kill our server. We're going to and run the following command: pip freeze, and then the caret pointing to the left, eating the freeze, and then we're going to say requirements.txt file. There you go. Now, if we go back into our text editor, we open up this file, we're going to see we got DJ database URL and a version. We got Django and a version. We got Pytz and a version, and we got white noise in a version. All right. So anytime you run pip install or pip uninstall, you should run this command that we just ran up here: pip freeze requirements.txt file. That should automatically be ran right after you either run install or uninstall. All right. Next thing we should probably do is set up the runtime. This is our last and final file that we will need for our project to run on Heroku. So what we're going to do is inside our base dir, we're going to go ahead and create a file called runtime.txt. All right. And we're going to go ahead and do Python -3.7.0. And basically what this is saying to Heroku is, hey, run Python 3.7 on our server here. All right, that's what we want to run. Now we could get technical and first off find out which version. We just run Python. I got Python 3.7. So if it was Python 3.7.1, we could put Python 3.7.1 in here. But it doesn't really matter. Python 3.7.0 will work. So that's how we configure our project for Heroku. In theory, now we could technically upload it and it would run, but I want to go ahead and bring in the static files in the next tutorial and create a home page for us, for something for us to look at. And then after we do that, we'll upload the Heroku, and then we'll start building some awesome applications for this project. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next tutorial after I get some sleep.